Yes, brother, how you doing? You good?
Yeah, man.
What's up? So, Mr. Robinson, did you do the crime? No, welcome on, brother. You good?
You stopped me before I started snitching.
You know, there you go. I tried to run some of my prophetic acting skills, and it didn't work. But
yes, man.
How you doing, sir? You good? Good to see you, man. Good to have a chat. So let's just go straight into it. Hoodies all summer. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the title. Why that title? And what is it saying?
The title came from a lyric on the album from Teardrops, where I say, "In love and war, all is fair where I'm from. Mm-hmm. The weak won't last the weak in shoes like our ones. Mm-hmm. When it rains, it pours. Hoodies all summer, because teardrops from the sky only seem to fall on you and I." Mm-hmm. You know, so to me, hoodies all summer is it's a defense mechanism. It's a mindset. It's an attitude. You know what I mean? It's I guess it's protection.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that's why it's called that anyway.
Yeah, wicked. So listening to the album, one of the things that proper stuck out to me was what I'm going to call something we've spoken about personally as well, I think. The contradictions of hood success. You know, you come from a certain area, you know, there's not a lot of money in the area, there's not a whole lot of money in the family. You're the person that made it.
Yeah.
And judged by the normal standards of society, man are well off. But yet, there's this contradiction in the background all the time of being one step away from being pulled back into some serious shit, friends in prison or little cousins on Badness, or just being the person that everybody looks to. So I heard that a lot in the album, but I just want you to expand and talk about that a little bit more.
Yes, it's interesting and something that I guess only people like, not just us, but from where we're from, that kind of, you know, do well can relate to and understand. And it's a difficult thing. And like even yesterday, I was shooting a video and was moving from one location to the next, and my mates were just behind me, following to the next location. You know, police just spun in front of us, like big van, about 8 of them jumped out. You know what I mean? It was like, in my head, it was like, we're professional people.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I'm kind of working today. And
no, you're at work.
Yeah, I'm literally at work, and it's just like, this is just stuff that other people in other professions or from other areas just don't have to deal with, you know. But yeah, so there's always that constant reminder of what, you know, that I think Jay-Z lyric, no matter how high you get, they remind you that you're ghetto, you know. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting thing you mentioned. But how do you feel about it?
It's a similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that it's the last time I got pulled over was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah. And one of the officers said to me, gang members drive cars like this.
That's what he said yesterday. But this is why you know that's just a line. Yeah. Because what car was you in?
I was in a Mercs.
Yeah, well this was a smart car. And he said gang members drive smart cars.
So gang members just drive cars, basically.
Cars,
right.
You know? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But what I said to him is, I'm not even the right age. Like, let's start there. I've got grey hairs in my head, fam. Like, I'm 15 years outside the demographic. Let's just even start there. Big, broad, Baker Street, middle of the day. But I think it's all of the stuff around it. I mean, throughout the record, you talk a lot about the stuff that's going on with the young people. Yeah. And sort of you think, well, I think as an outsider, the sort of trajectory of your career, and a lot of men of our age, when you were 19, 20, you were talking about, I suppose, what you were in and you were around, even if you weren't necessarily on Badness, what your friends and cousins and everyone, whereas now it's almost like you're an elder looking at what's going on. And some of these kids are almost young enough to be our children, even though we don't have children. And I thought that was really interesting, that sort of change of perspective.
That observation, yeah.
Almost.
Definitely change of perspective. And I feel like sometimes, you know, as much as I'm connected and, you know, very much rooted in the streets, that distance allows for a different type of observation. But for me, I was always really conscious about, I'm looking at what's going on, but not looking down on what's going on.
100%, yeah.
And I don't want to be the guy that's coming to the guy that we would have never listened to when we was
100%.
young. You know, I'd stop this and stop that, and what it's like. My thing is like, I get it,
Yeah,
I understand, but I've experienced more. And have you ever looked at it like this? You know what I mean? You know.
And I want you to experience more.
Yeah.
That's what I picked up from it. Like a lot of, I felt like you were doing the big brother, big uncle. Cause I've been where you are. I'm not even gonna come down on you like how Granny might.
Yeah.
Because Granny don't get it. I love Granny, but she don't understand what you're going. I get it, but I want more for you, fam. And I thought the record was quite celebratory as well in that way.
I'm glad you say that, because obviously I touch on some serious themes, but I see celebration in it. I see optimism. I see hope.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes across in songs like Pan Fried and even in SYM. You know, talking about even so SYM.
SYM. Mr. Robinson, what does that mean? SYM. Anyway, go on. It's an acronym for what?
Talking about, you know, kind of the respect that I have for people that have come before us and that have kicked down doors, and you know, my mum coming over from Jamaica and moving to Chinatown and dealing with a hell of a lot of racism.
Yep.
And I guess our grandparents would look at us and feel that we've come such a long way.
1,000,000%.
We're supposed to never be complacent about that, but we're supposed to, you know, celebrate that
1,000%.
as much as still trying to take that back and move as much forward as we can, you know, to help the generation behind us. But yeah, so we've got to acknowledge the shit, speak about it, as artists do, but always room to celebrate, man.
And don't you think like we're in a sort of weird time because, you know, there's the stuff going on in the streets that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But to me as well, I look around and again, I picked this up in your record, it feels like there's never been so much visible black success ever before at any point in London's history. The violence has always been there. Even when there was not black people in London, the violence was there. In fact, the novel I'm working on at the moment is set in London 500 years ago. And one of the things I'm trying to show people is what the streets were like back then. It's like slum youths back then.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a really interesting time because in the culture that you came up in, starting where you started, you know, Deja, all of that, right? And now you got people who are big time successful business people, employing their friends, employing people in their community. So there's also a lot of success in and amongst all of this tough stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and you know, I'm extremely proud to be a part of that. And as a young kid, that would have inspired me so much. You know what I mean? There was only a couple people to look to when I was growing up that were kind of, you know, that were in reach. You know what I mean? That I can say, right, he comes from here and he's made that, and a couple footballers, really. And that's kind of that's cool. Kind of all it was. But to now look around and just see the landscape and all the things that we're doing, and you know, just like that class of Deja gets doing like fantastic things, and Lethal B in music and business, and Bashi, who's like a friend of both of ours in America, smashing it, doing his thing. It's just yeah, it feels like a real, you know, it's an important time, and yeah, it feels like we've broke ground. As I said, a lot more to do, but yeah, man, it feels nice, man.
But also there's like a generation of young people. The way we grew up, and everything was either Jamaican, which we'll come to a little bit later, or American, like MC-wise. We might have had other music that was from here, but generally, you know, prior to So Solid and my sister and a few others, generally everything we grew up listening to was either Ninja Man, Super Cat and Bounty, or Jigga, Nas and Pac, right? Don't you think it's strange now? And I try and perceive this even with my little brother and my nephew and everyone else. They've grown up with you as that person. With Gets as that person. With now Stormzy as that person, or Dave. And that shift is really interesting because seeing the youngers just feel like it's all right to sell out Brixton. Or Whereas when we was coming up, that just seemed
that was far-fetched.
Bruv, it
like,
seemed
way far-fetched.
that's never gonna happen. Like that's how it felt anyway to me.
Yeah, the most you might, you know, be able to support
Yeah.
someone that can do those venues. And I remember like playing at Glastonbury for the first time and whatnot. That was like, he was the only artist like me on the bill, or you know what I mean? Or it was normally like one of us, Dizzy or me or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
one at a time kind of
Yeah,
thing.
one at a time.
And now like I look down the bill on festivals and I'm just like,
I know him.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's how it should be. But it wasn't.
No,
It wasn't always like that. You wouldn't turn on the radio and hear tune after tune after tune, you know what I mean? Of like Dave and Stormzy and the Sims and like, it just weren't like that at all, man. But it must, I don't know, it must be so, I think it's very important, like, for people to see themselves, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
On the TV and hear themselves on the radio and, no. Yeah, I think that's good for youngsters.
No, 100%. So talk me through the process of making the record.
The record, so we probably started about 3 years ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what, straight after?
Early stage, after tour.
Yeah.
So yeah, album, so maybe like 2.5 or whatever. Album came out, like toured a lot off of that. And the idea was to go back in this, like, just take that energy that we have on stage and bring it straight back in the studio, and things are gonna flow straight away. Then you're gonna have another album out, and then you're gonna capitalize on the momentum that you've built. But it just didn't work like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I was probably drained, not necessarily,
hard, man.
yeah, mentally as well. And I feel like on the last record I gave so much of myself. Personal stories and what I revealed so much of myself that I didn't necessarily know what to say. I knew what I wanted the music to feel like, but I didn't. I was like, what else?
What do I do next almost?
What do I say?
Yeah.
Like, what's the next story? You know what I mean? So we got in it. We did meet, but we didn't really make anything. But we spoke a lot about.
When you say we? Who's the team of
It was
making
just
the record?
me. It was Blue May, and Jodie Milliner, who you know.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. We got in the studio but a lot of the things that we did discuss are present today on the record. You know, in certain, like more like the soundscape. But I just needed that time. I just needed a bit more living to do, and just time away to come up with lyrics, really. And I feel like that, the big difference between the last album and this one, that one was more like inward looking, and this one's definitely more outward looking, because it was like, all right, maybe it's not, obviously it's using my personal journey, but maybe it's not my personal stories. Maybe it's more about what my eyes are seeing, what I see, you know.
You know, I got that from the album. It's actually something I think about that's quite interesting sometimes. If you make a, say, political statement,
Yeah.
or even, you know, Giggs makes a political statement, or Gets, or anyone, it's sort of, or I make a road statement, it works in reverse, right? It's like, people put you in a box. You're the conscious rapper, you're the grime artist, you're this, you're that. And what I thought was really interesting is there's so much political content on the record, but it probably wouldn't necessarily be labeled in that way. Just like on a record I might make, there'll be bare badmanisms or whatever you want to call it, road references, right? But because of the way I've pigeonholed myself, or people have chosen to pigeonhole me, those things might not be perceived in a certain way. And similarly, I feel like some of the stuff you're saying on there may not be perceived as overtly political, even though it very much is. Like, it is an observation of what it is to be basically a young black street kid in London now, and the contradictions of what all of that means. At least that's what I took from a lot of it, but with reference to history and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't see myself as a, you know, political artist or whatnot, but I'm definitely aware, politically aware, and just obviously, you know, I'm gonna speak about, you know, shit that I care about.
Yeah.
And I guess, yeah, politics affects us all. Our day-to-days and my day-to-days end up in my bars, you know what I mean? So yeah, I haven't gone out of my way to make political statements, but yeah, you probably could say it's my most kind of, yeah, political record.
But I think it's interesting because I've seen you sort of dotting towards that almost.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like the fire in the booth.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the reference to the thing that happened at District.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've seen the sort of, oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Kano Malcolm X is on the way, right? Not even that. I'm not even saying this, but you know what I mean? Like I've seen the content just start. And how much of that do you think is partly the way you grew up? It was always in there, and then just, I suppose, the moment right now. It's almost like I feel like the scene has become so big. The artists have more freedom almost.
Yeah.
To do whatever the hell they want. No one's really dependent on a radio playlist anymore. Really, it's nice to get them. You know, the labels don't really have input so much anymore creatively.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just how you felt today.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, that's yeah. Maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe subconsciously I wouldn't have said certain things back then. You know, thinking about. Not to say like censoring yourself as such, but kind of having that, you know, half eye on radio and whatnot. You know what I mean? Maybe I wouldn't have said if they can spray paint niggas on LeBron James' crib, that means a black card ain't shit when that's to shade your faces. You know what I mean? Maybe I wouldn't have said that before. Is that growth as a person? Maybe is why I've grown as an artist. Probably. Maybe I didn't. I don't know, maybe I didn't really care about it before. No, I didn't care about it. Maybe it just wasn't on my.
No, and to be fair to you, I mean, Dave's tune Black. I remember seeing a tweet from Annie Mac talking about how many complaints her and other DJs were getting for that tune, playing it. And I thought this is really fascinating, right? You're a hip hop fan, which means you listen to a genre of music in which, let's call it what it is, the celebration of black trauma and black death are quite normal parts of hip hop. And I'm not passing judgment on that. I love gangster rap, but I'm not going to lie to myself about what some of the content is saying, right? And that's fine. So, DMX is one of my favorite rappers ever. Prodigy from Mobb Deep is one of my favorite rappers ever. But I find it interesting that fans of that genre suddenly choose to complain when a young rapper from Streatham is celebrating black love. It's like, if you find some solace in, or some human relation in why certain young black men hate each other and do violence to one another, but black love offends you, it's not hatred towards you, it's just black people loving each other. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a problem there.
Yeah.
It's like bashy black boys, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, where's the white boy? So, you know, it's like you don't need a song, you know? It's like, yeah, we have to celebrate ourselves. We're resilient people, you know? We deal with a lot of shit. We have to celebrate when we're doing well, you know? And that's why I love seeing these young artists do their thing. And even at the moment, everyone's talking about banning this music, banning drill and whatever. I'm not for censoring art anyway. Yeah. But I'm like, when I look at those young artists, I look at someone that's like getting away from the street. You know what I mean? If they're talking their truth.
No, that is exactly what it is.
Yeah, if they're talking their truth, you can't tell them to, you know, not speak about that. You can't censor that. And you shouldn't ban that. But I look at people getting off the streets, moving into a professional world and making better of their life. What do you want them to do?
No, I feel you. It's something
not be able to do that and go back to what?
Well, the thing is, I think there's valid reasons to criticize content.
Yeah,
like there isn't.
It's fine if you want to not like it.
Yeah. But I've literally seen youths who were on Badness.
Yeah.
Have gone on tour around Europe or wherever else 2 times, and all of a sudden it's like, yo, fam, I was in Switzerland 4 times this month. All of a sudden, poking up man over which estate we come from doesn't sound so attractive no more. The jail. I'm going Norway next week. I don't want to mess up my visa for the States. All of a sudden, the concerns come very, very different when you broaden people's horizons. And I think that's the side of it, even though I'm not saying I don't have criticism of the content, I think that's the side of it people are not really looking at. And the reality is, when I was 15, Prodigy from Mobb Deep and DMX were my favorite rappers. How can I get on my high horse now and say, you must not say this when the rap I loved when I was 15, the thing that most resonated with me, that I most felt spoke to me, was basically the same stuff, but over slower American music. It wasn't positive, you know what I mean? In the sense that what's being said, but I think there is a positivity in how can I put this without sounding like I'm justifying something? Ultimately, if I'm making music, I'm already making the statement that I want to leave that life behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if my music is about that life and seems to be glorifying that life, the fact I'm even trying to have a career as an MC is saying, well, the road thing, I'm not really on it now.
Yeah, and
Otherwise
that's
I wouldn't
positive. That's like by example. You know what I mean? Like, look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Stop focusing on what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Not to say that your words ain't important, but and to me, it always comes down to, if you are rapping your truth, then that's fine. If you're making up lies to, you know, if you're just rapping about violence but haven't really lived that life because that's what you think is going to sell and whatever, I guess that's, you can say it's just business. And
or it's fantasy.
Or it's fantasy. It's not necessarily what I respect as an artist. Like, I don't respect that, but, you know, it's what it is.
So talk to me about some of the collabs on the album. How did they come about? You know, what was the recording process, and why those particular artists? How do you go about picking, right? Do you get the song first, or do you want to do a tune with a particular person and find a song to fit that person, if that makes sense?
There's some people I've wanted to do a song with, but I wouldn't say I've then tried to find a song to fit them. It's just one of them things, like, if it happens, it happens. When it's right kind of thing. And Popcorn was one of them.
Yep.
And yeah, and then when we made the music, it was like I even laid the chorus, but it was like I couldn't get away from hearing his voice on that tune. And we was always trying to, like, get together, but it was a weird one. Like, my mum's 60th in Jamaica, and I flew out there to see them. They flew home 2 days before me, so I had a couple of days just chilling. Ended up linking Popcorn, going out, raving, whatever. I didn't even want to, you know, I'm not linking you for work. Like, it's,
he was on a vibe.
We're just chilling.
Yeah, I didn't just roll.
Yeah. And then he was like, should we go to the studio one? I can't even say night. It was one morning. It was about 4 a.m. or something. And ended up linking up with him and doing that tune. So that was nice to be in the same room together, rather just a sending thing. And the ones here, Kojo, we're from, like, you know, same area. My kind of younger cousins know him. You know what I mean? So there was a kind of connection anyway. And I like his stuff, and I feel his music and sound is it's like it could only be someone from London that makes the music he makes. You know, that was influenced obviously by Afro music, by dancehall music, by hip hop, by grime. You know what I mean? That kind of melting pot
that
creates someone like him. And yeah, who else on the album? D-Double-E and Gets.
Yeah.
That is obviously the, you know, friends of mine, used to be in a crew together, old school. Just wanted to touch on that energy. And I wanted that present on the record. And yeah, when I made that tune, firstly, I thought of D-Double-E, and then Ghetto just, like, bullied his way onto the album. Like,
you can hear it in the energy.
He's like, I'm
on
on that song. He actually came into a different song, then he was like, listen, I'll do that, but I'm on that song as well.
But I mean, let's pause on that track a little bit, because I feel like that track really captured, even in the video, it really captured that sound system, pirate radio, that gas that you can only recreate live. And even though it's a recorded record, even now when I listen to it, the parts of the bar comes in on, it doesn't come in exactly where you'd expect him to come in, where he takes over and where you take over from him. It really is that kind of energy that you can only feel in a dance almost.
Exactly, and that's why we wanted to record it that way. Like, we laid that down at the same time. Like, 2 mics set up, and we was literally you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can hear that. That makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So it was just important to capture that energy, and mate, I can't wait to
get on the road.
I can't wait to do that one. Yeah, that's one. But fans love to hear us together as well. So we've always been talking about doing another back-to-back verse, because we had one years ago. It was like, we can't keep dining out on this lyric. Every time we're on the stage together, we do the old lyric. He's like, no, we need a new one. So I was like, but if we do it, we gotta do it, you know, to a certain level.
Speaking of doing it live, when's the tour?
Tour will be October.
Okay. Where can people still get tickets for? Because I know a bunch of them's already sold out. Do you know? If you don't know,
yeah. The Manchester's, Birmingham's gone. You just told me Brighton's gone.
London's obviously gone.
London was yeah.
Man sold out Royal Albert Hall in like 2 minutes flat and just acted like it was normal.
So Glasgow's left. Your ends.
My ends, you know. My ends.
It's called Glasgow at ends. Yeah. The whole of Glasgow.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Mum's family is from up there. They're not actually Glaswegian, but it's fine. I'll claim it.
Yeah.
I'll claim it. They live in Glasgow now. So it's fine.
Okay.
They're actually proper Highlanders from a small place called Benbecula.
Okay.
Like a really small island. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
so tour, I can't, and I'm Royal Albert Hall somewhere up. We've played Royal Albert Hall.
We have, yeah, we did. 2000 and, what year was that? 6?
Probably 7.
Supporting Jay-Z?
Supporting Jay-Z.
Yeah, we did, we both did, yeah.
There you go. And I've always wanted to play that venue, like on my own. Since being there and like even that day watching, I remember, I think he done a whole tour, they done Wembley and then that was like a separate thing, right?
It was a different thing, yeah.
And even how special that was to him, you know what I mean? And he had the orchestra and that day he wore a...
Gwyneth Paltrow came out.
Gwyneth Paltrow come out and he had the waistcoat on. Yeah. He brought out Nas, that was the first time after their beef. Beyonce, I know when people play that building, they like to give a bit more, you know what I mean? We always give 100, but just something special and just want that night to go down in history. And, you know, it's not usual that our music is played in a building like that, so yeah, I can't wait to disrespect the place.
So you're going to tour again next year for all of the people who didn't get tickets for this one?
Hopefully, yeah. I do want to, you know, touch some more places and and just play some more shows, man. Like this was probably this album. Like while making the album, we was always thinking about live, you know, and that don't usually happen for me, but maybe it's who I made it with, because obviously Blue is MD of my band, Jodie's in the band. So we was constantly thinking about how this would translate live and you know, what would be exciting and how can we kind of get that energy on the record. So that's why the live instrumentation and whatever, something I've always been into. But yeah, just knowing now I can, my ideas can be realized, you know what I mean? Obviously there's still a level. Yeah, for sure. You know, I have way more ideas and creations that, you know, I would like to happen one day that maybe I haven't got the resources to do now. But with what I'm working with, I just want to push, like squeeze every bit of creative juice out and push the boundaries like as much as I can and just create some memorable moments, man.
And with you, you know, your turn sort of towards live music, instrumentation, do you think that's a sort of, is that a conscious longevity thing? Like I think about someone like you know, you've been around for so long, but it doesn't feel like you're old school in that sense. It feels like you're in the middle of your career. Do you know what I mean? It's like the trajectory you're taking, because of where you've decided to go musically, these are songs you could perform at 52 on some Chuck D, Led Zeppelin business. Yeah. And you wouldn't feel like...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're right. It's like, why not, you know? Like, I'm a songwriter, you know what I mean?
100%.
I'm not, you know, I'm making songs in the moment, but not just for the moment, you know? And when you know, have a career over 10 years, you can understand what, you know, songs that have lasted the test of time, people still talk about. And I just feel like people are like, oh, when you're older, like, what could you rap about? You know what I mean? Not down with the kids and whatnot. And it's just not about that. It's about being real to yourself and tapping into true emotion that I think is like ageless and timeless, you know? Love and fear and anger and frustration and just happiness, you know what I mean? Just those things are ageless. Like I'm not trying to like, you know, put a drill beat on the album because that's what people are, whatever.
Which is quite noticeable.
Yeah. It's like, nah, that's not where it's at for me. See, I don't know, man. I don't know how long I'll be doing it for.
But do you think that's why you've lasted so long? That integrity as an artist, right? You know, you've had several incarnations. And is that what I In fact, I'm telling you, actually, from the outside looking in, you can sort of see where it's like, my man's going to be around for as long as he wants to be around. Because you have that solid fan base, they trust you, they believe in you, but it's partly because of what you've just said, where you're like, I'm not just going to do what everyone else is doing, or what lots of people are doing, because it's not even a diss to everyone else.
Yeah.
I'm going to do me, kind of thing.
I think that's maybe that's why I'm still here. I was always like, it's a marathon, not a sprint, like from the beginning. Okay. Like I always saw this as a career,
Okay, that's interesting.
But at the same time, I guess, I don't know, maybe part of the reason why, maybe I haven't achieved like the, super commercial success.
Says the guy who sold out Royal Albert Hall in like 2 minutes flat. This is what I mean. See how people change? They get rich and switch, Hey! They get to a certain stage in life, yeah? We're selling out Royal Albert Hall before breakfast. Man woke up, I know this because we're friends, right?
Before breakfast.
So man woke up and was like, yeah, Royal Albert Hall sold out and I ain't my cereal yet. And I was like, I haven't had enough commercial success. Continue.
What can I say, man?
You mean you've got to a certain point and you've redefined now. If someone said to you, when you was on Deja, cuz, decade and a bit from now, you're going to sell out Royal Albert Hall before breakfast, before you've had your cornbrownies.
Yeah, I would have looked.
And you're not going to see that as.
I would have looked at it as a major success.
Precisely.
You know what I mean?
So really,
I probably would have said that, whatever.
Right, brother. At that time, there was hardly anyone who could do 500 tickets. Yeah. People could sell for raves. I don't think we even taken in somehow how much the scene's changed. Yeah, it was basically Dizzy, Roots Maneuver, and the streets. Yeah. And obviously, my sister and So Solid, but sort of our age group, there was no rappers other than really Dizzy who had a live touring fan base early. And now it's like there's 100 people. Yeah. Every week my little brother's like, yeah, this artist is playing Brixton Academy. And I'm like, that's mad.
Yeah. It's crazy. But I don't know. I think generally I'm a glass half full person.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. People, Richard would probably say I'm proper like, pessimist. He used to call me a pessimist.
Well, anyone who can define selling out Royal Albert Hall in 2 minutes as a lack of commercial success, I think deserves the glass half full.
But you know what? It's just like, I know I'm ambitious and I want more, but I don't want to do anything for it.
What do you mean by that?
So I'm like my own, like I just refuse to compromise anymore. I'm not saying I haven't in the past, and even subconsciously.
Yeah, I feel.
But
me too.
I think I've got to a point in life where I can only do it how I want to do it, or
I get offers every day, Rich. I ain't effing with that. I'm never super famous, I could settle for that. I make a little less paper and I left them with that. When you can just rap your brethren's lyrics, it's all weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel you, bro. But why would you?
Yeah. It's like doing things for, like we all want to make money and we all make money and do well and whatnot, but doing things solely for money is, I don't know, it's just such a conflict with the artist in me, So it might take me a little bit longer to get there, to get to this point, maybe. But hopefully, I don't know, hopefully I'll be respected for it, but even hopefully I can just be happy with myself in 20 years' time, Because sometimes I look, if I condensed my career, all the things I've done in my career, into like 5 years, I would probably be, I don't know, bigger than I am. But, I mean, like, Home Sweet Home comes out, second album comes out, then I do Top Boy, then I do Made in a Manor, then I do Top Boy Season 2, then I do this new album. You know what I mean? If that all happened, like, sooner, the trajectory might have been a lot different. But I don't think the material would have sounded how it does because I need that time 100%. To create special product,
Absolutely.
And other people do it well when they have writing camps and they just turn up and the beat's made and, you know, the song's there, the chorus is done, they just got to do 8 bars here and 8 bars there, and you know, then they feature, and you know what I mean, while they're not making, while they ain't got an album out, they're on every hot feature and blah blah blah. And people do that so well, but it's just not what I do well. I would love to be that guy, but
Would you though?
But I'm not that guy.
Yeah, but would you though?
Maybe not.
Exactly. Yeah. And that guy is probably like, I'd love to do what Kane's do. I'd love to just take my time. But I'd love to be able to take 3 years out to make an album, and then my fans still trust me and love me so much that I put something out, bam, tour's gone.
Yeah, because the last album, obviously that was like maybe 6 years without releasing, 5, 6 years I think it was, and that was like, that was a bit scary, like coming up to that, because it was like,
I'm 5 years. When
yeah,
it comes next
it's
year,
like, and you question it, and other people would be like to you, bro, what are you worrying about? Like, people are here for you. You know what I mean? They're gonna like, your fans are still there. You've probably gained more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which you have, yeah.
But you do question your place in this industry. Like, are people gonna like care? Like, 5 years? Like, what? Do they want to hear from me? You know what I mean?
No,
especially with all the things you do now as well. You know what I mean? Do they, you know, do they just want me to? They only like me, my writing in books, but they don't like my writing in music and whatever. But they'll be like, nah, bro, we just want to hear your perspective, bro. Over a beat or on a page, like, they just love you, innit? But yeah, we're insecure people sometimes, artists.
You have to be. Well, no, maybe you don't have to be, but yes, we are. It is very true. So speaking of creating great work, which you mentioned, there was a verse that, I mean, many verses and quotables that stuck with me, but there's a particular verse on the Got Brandy tune, where you got my brandy, where you switch up the flow. Do you know which part I'm talking about?
Second verse.
I think
halfway through the second verse.
Can you say it to me if you want? Because there was a poetry in it I just wanted the people to hear said.
Yeah, obviously that tune.
It's like, I can't find this, but I can't.
That one says, it's about, I guess, going through a breakup, and then kind of spending a lot of time with yourself, and then finally stepping out into the club circuit. So it's like, and just observing it's like all floss with more money and less problems. Can't find the real one from imposters. Can't find the right words in these vodkas. Can't find my feet, now I look lost in this place. Are we supposed to be shocking? So out of touch, play the back watching. Tune spinning, but when's the beat? You know what I mean? That's
You just cut it off, I was enjoying that. I
miss bringing my sand to this beach. To build a castle fit for a queen, who now one finger skanks without me, you know.
No, that's beautiful. And you see all the imagery in there, which I mean, and the poetry in there. That was something that I just thought. And what I liked about it was there was so much flow in it that it's almost like, I feel like that one is going to take people, like a lot of your stuff is going to take people 4 or 5 listens. And they'll still be discovering new bit. Oh, right, he said that. Oh, that wordplay was that. Because there's so much, you're so dexterous with the flow in terms of just the musicality of the way you use the words.
Dropping new words.
There you go. That I think sometimes the intricacy of the actual wordplay, if you don't see it written down or hear it said like that, you can miss it and not get it till the 5th listen or the 6th listen.
That's it. I'm still discovering things, you know. And it's interesting you say written down, because I never used to be like this, but now I have to write everything down, even if I've laid it already, you know. And I have to write it down, proper grammar. And, you know what I mean? I know no one's probably ever going to see it, but it's just how, like, it might even lead to me changing a word, you know, seeing things down on paper. I'll be like, I said that word there, then I said it there. It's far away in beats per minute, and you probably won't clock, but as I'm looking at it on a page, I don't like that I've repeated that twice, so I'm going to change that word, you know. Things have to read well as well, you know. I don't think I would have just, you know, so many lessons in love can't be taught without the breaking of hearts, you know. I wouldn't just vibe that out in the studio. That's not like something that I'm just gonna vibe. That's me spending time at home. I didn't write nothing in the studio, only the ghetto verse. Back-to-back ghetto verse. I'm not writing your lyrics, G. I don't want that to come across like that. But I wrote everything at home, just by myself, silence, and looking at the words. And I think that's process has inspired the lyric.
And the level of wordplay, like all throughout the album, there's a lot of, that makes more sense to me now. because you've always had really strong wordplay, but I do feel like I can now, maybe I'm just begging it because you've said this, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like I can hear the poetic process almost. Like there is parts where I thought, right, that's a poet's phrase. Do you know what I mean? I think that you can be a poet and rap, and then you can rap poetry. And the line is a thin line sometimes. I feel like you're someone who's always done both, but I can hear a lot of that in this album.
That's good. Thank you.
Something that's always resonated with me about your music is the Jamaicanisms in the music.
Yeah.
Like always from the beginning. I think probably more than any other UK hip hop artist, grime MC will have that conversation in a minute. Someone who I've always seen as both. Probably you and Clash.
Okay.
Yeah, who I've always been like the Ninja Man, Bounty Killer, Buju. I don't have to chat to them, man. I know they grew up on all them same songs. And I think I've always heard that influence in your music, probably more even in my own music, even though I grew up on that stuff and I love it so much. And that's something that's always resonated with me, and that continues on this album where even if it's just a lyric you might drop, there's a lyric where you refer to Buju as one of the OGs. We grew up on Buju, not these new little kind of, everyone's called little something, right? No diss to little whoever, but it just, there's a musical pedigree that it feels like your Jamaicanism has given you, beyond just the usual stereotypes, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like I'm, inspired and influenced by dancehall music. I was gonna say as much as, but maybe just more than hip hop, even American hip hop.
100%.
You know, but those were my first musical experiences. Like I've been going to Jamaica since I was like 2 years old, and I remember maybe I was about 4 this time, and we went to my mum, my aunts took us to a Tiger concert, and remember artist Tiger, But we were so young, like they walked us all the way to the front, and we like sat on the stage. So he's there jumping up on the stage, and I just got vivid memories of like every time he jumped, like a wooden stage. Every time he jumped, our seats would do that. You know, I just remember it to this day. And he had the live band, and that's where
they're all on it in Yard with that.
All on it with the live band,
like dancing thing even.
Exactly, Sting. When you know what I mean, that's
proper shows.
Yeah, and that is like my inspiration. You know. And yeah, it's always found its way in my music, and just generally just being a fan of like, all the artists that came after that, Bounty Killer, and actually it's interesting. I went to my early notes the other day for this album, and it said, what did it say? It was like DNA. So it was like this is the DNA of this record. It said, it said. Gucci loafers, Hennessy, Anytime by Bounty Killer. You know?
What a tune.
And to me, Gucci loafers is the garage that you probably get on Got My Brandy, Got My Beats, and Bang Down Your Door. And Hennessy to me is like that's real hip hop street. You know when that
Mobb Deep
when
all
that
the way,
Mobb Deep. You know when that beat comes in on Teardrops. That to me is Hennessy. And Anytime by Bounty Killer, it's just like the way he spoke about just current situations, or he might have been political, but without sounding, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it was just the ghetto governor, the voice of the streets, poor people governor, you know what I mean?
100%.
It's that energy that I was channeling at times for this album.
He's my favourite dancehall MC ever.
I saw you the other day when we went dinner, and you come, he drove down banging that some fucking Bounty Killer.
Bro, I will never stop playing Bounty till I die, bro. I'm Bounty forever. Like I love everyone else, but see, like lyrics for lyrics, I accept that there's other artists with as big a catalogue.
Of course, Cartel, that's my guy as well. Yeah.
But for no, I don't think, like you said, I don't think there's more than 5 US MCs. Yeah. Who affected me more than Bounty Killer did. Like, I grew up on Bounty as much as I grew up on Nas.
Yeah, 100%. Like, same, I could say the same. And yeah, after Bounty, it probably is Nas and Jay-Z.
You know. Punisher for me, DMX.
Okay.
Who is, in fact, let's do that. Who is, because I did this with someone the other day, who is your, if we're talking golden age US hip hop, who were the 5 most influential for you?
Influential for me?
For you, probably, not greatest, just your 5 that you think.
I'll say Nas, Jigga,
Gets hard after that, innit?
If we're talking for me, at a point I would have said Buster.
Okay. Okay, that's
Just
interesting.
the flow and the animation
Buster's flow
and
was crazy, yeah.
yeah.
Are you still saying Buster now though? Because you said at a point I would have said Buster.
I'm saying Buster.
Okay, cool.
And I just feel like his production was always like
it
out
was
there
mad,
as
it
well.
was
You know
mad,
what I
it was
mean?
mad.
He was like quite unique with it. And I'll say Big. Yeah, I'll just say Big.
That's only 4, you know? Still got 1 more to go. I don't know why it feels incomplete at 4.
I was gonna say M.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about if we went dancehall? Barney would Barney be in a more?
Bounties. I would probably put Cartel 1.
Okay. Yep.
You know, Bounty, Beanie. Sizzler.
Yep. There's a Sizzler sample.
And Buju, but he ain't fifth. You know, Buju, I said him fifth, but he ain't fifth.
Buju's his own thing.
Yeah, he's his
You know,
own
like how
thing.
Lauryn Hill is her own thing
Yeah,
in hip-hop?
yeah,
Where
yeah,
Lauryn
yeah.
Hill, like, you might not put her in your list of top rappers, but she is as good at rapping as most other
your
people who've ever rapped.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem for Buju is he's too talented. So if he was just a dancehall MC,
Yeah.
he would probably have been way higher in that list. But when you go off and write some...
I feel like Andre 3000 has that same thing going on.
1000%.
You know what I mean?
Where you're something else. You're your own thing.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you're gonna write untold stories. You're just gonna be on some John Lennon, Bob Marley, folk song. But a minute ago it was Walk Like a Champion. Buju's an alien.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I never got to go to the concert, so I'm angry.
My mum and my aunts went. I was
For real?
fuming. Yeah. I said it was
Pain.
crazy.
Pain. When you began your career as an artist and MC,
Yeah.
there seemed to be this big division: grime, hip hop.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Where did you sit in that division, and how did you feel your work was best described? And what did you feel? Did you even feel that division yourself?
Yeah, I definitely felt it. But I feel, do you know what? I felt like I didn't necessarily belong to any. I mean, people would call me a grime artist and a grime MC, and you know what? And obviously that kind of phrase is broadened now. You know what I mean? Everything's called grime now. But at that time, it was really like 140 BPM, spit in a certain way over a certain style of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel that was factually a correct description of my music. You know, my first album. People call it a grime album, but if you listen to it, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a grime album. So I felt like I sat somewhere in the middle, you know. But what's interesting is, like, I remember, like, people call P's and Q's as like a classic grime song or whatever. But when it first came out, the grime guys were saying, that's not grime. They were saying that's a hip hop tune.
That's interesting.
You know, and the way I was spitting,
Yeah.
like slowing things down and whatnot. You know what I mean?
If there rain a blitz between.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I just feel like I just wanted to be just recognized as an artist. You know what I mean? And every artist never wants to be put in a box. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to just make music, and I just had so much in me, and that might be jungle influence reloaded on that album, or it might be you know, the intro track that's like obviously hip hop. Then it might have Mic Check, which is definitely like kind of the more grimier sound. But yeah, I found out very quickly, and you know, doing press for the first time or whatever, they really they just wanna box you. I don't know, it's like easier for them, you know what I mean?
To process it almost.
Yeah, I don't know. But I never was comfortable about that. And even now, I just rather just be called an artist, you know what I mean?
It's not so much of an issue now, it feels like. It feels
Nah,
like
because it's like...
it's all mixed up. Every
everything's
grime
mixed
artist
up
has
now.
basically done a hip hop album, or at least an album with hip hop tempos
Yeah.
on, and kind of people accept people are going to do both. But I feel like, again, our age group,
Yeah.
I feel like I came at it from the other end, where I was a hip hop artist, but I didn't want no one to tell me I couldn't rap at 140.
Yeah.
And that's why I would do Roll Us Remix or That Boy Akala or whatever else, because I was like, well, it's rapping.
Yeah.
Jigga's been rapping double time. In fact, he began that way. Bone Thugs has been rapping double time. Smiley Culture was rapping double time. Asher Senator, all them old school man there, like, it's
Yeah.
not,
You know.
that doesn't make it alone define it. You know what I mean? I feel like it was more the sound of grime that made grime its own specific thing rather than just the tempo to me, even though most people would see it that way.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be told I wasn't part of that.
And people don't
couldn't
understand.
be.
That conversation probably sounds crazy to a lot of people, but that was an actual thing.
Yeah, it was
you
a
know
thing.
what I mean?
It was a
Like,
thing.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But gigs can rap on Man Don't Care and free wheel ups, and it's just at double time.
And do very well.
And do extremely well.
And do very, very
yeah.
well. I was like, listen, you're on a 140 with Kane. That's not an easy day, you know, in life. And he came with it still.
Yeah,
He came with
you know
it.
what I mean? But I just, and you know, he's an artist, man, and yeah, what, I can't speed up my flow, or, you know what I mean? I can do many things with my voice. So, yeah, man. It's just art.
No, 100%.
Just art.
So, one other thing, you know, we have in common, we both used to play football. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
still play, or you?
Do you know what? I don't get to play as like that much anymore. For years though, like after I stopped playing football and was doing music, we used to play Power League like every single Thursday, and I would do that. Played Sunday teams and whatnot. But I've kind of, you know, I haven't played for a couple years now. But yeah, when I was young, used to kick a bit as a kid at Chelsea, and then
He says he played for
and
Chelsea.
then, well, no, you
Played for
proper
Norwich.
kicked a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play for the team that I probably should have played for because it was like so local to me, West Ham. But yeah, no, Norwich at around, I don't know, around 15ish or something like that. But do you know what, Akala, it was like, it was something I was good at, but
Yeah, your heart
I
went
didn't love it.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean? It wasn't my passion.
Yeah,
It was
I
just
feel
something I was good at, and you know, kids to just. But it done so much for me. You know what I mean? Like
Got you at
football
the
and
ends,
sport.
kept you
just,
busy?
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Kept me busy. The whole 6 weeks holidays. You know, go to Noom Leisure Centre or go to my school. Used to open sometimes. We used to just play football in there and whatnot. And I feel that's it's so important for youngsters. But yeah, for me, it just wasn't that thing I wanted to be. When you stopped playing football, did you stop playing football and then start making music, or did music kind of make you stop playing football?
No, so I was always making music from like,
Yeah.
from primary school.
Yeah.
Like me and my sister used to write songs from primary school, literally like 7, 8. But it didn't seem like a realistic career option.
Yeah.
And so from like 10 to probably 16, football was my passion. But in the back, I was always writing lyrics. Me and my brethren performed Wu-Tang Triumph. 8 of us performed it at school band's concert.
Oh, wow.
The next year we went back and performed all our own material. So I was always writing, making music, but it didn't seem like you could go anywhere with it so much back then. And obviously what happened with my sister happened, what happened with the scene in general happened. But my heart, kind of like you, I got very good at football, and football was a way out for me at a time when home life was tough, mum wasn't very well, mum and stepdad had just split up. There was things going on that weren't great. And football became a channel, and I fell in love with it. But I sort of then fell out of. Once I had to do it full time and it became a job, I just fell out of love. I don't even really watch that much football anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, so
And you got a lot, and as you know, like through, I guess, music and writing books and whatever, like, as stressful as this is, you have to love it.
Of course you do.
Like,
Otherwise it would show in what you put out.
yeah, like you have to love to put up with some of the shit we put up with
100%.
on a daily basis. Like, nah, it's, you know, you gotta really love this to go through that, you know.
So what's next? We're almost done. What's next for Kane?
Yeah, just yeah, giving up for the tour really. Like I just left rehearsals now. Yeah, just playing shows. I just want to get this album on its feet now and just like play. So that'll be like most of my year, and yeah, got a little show called Top Boy coming out as well. I've been working, Akala.
Yeah, I know.
I've been working.
How was that? We haven't really touched on that much, but you know, I'm sure you can't say too much, but you know, how has that process been, and
I can tell you who dies and everything. No, I can't tell you that.
How has it been to become an actor?
It's again, it's like it's been amazing. You know what I mean? It's for me. It's like making music. It's like beginning to make music. You know what I mean? Like those beginning stages where, not that we don't still learn every day, but literally every single thing is a learning experience. You know what I mean? and I was a sponge back then. I would sit in studios and and whatnot. And I feel like that's how I am on film sets. You know what I mean? So I love to learn. I was very aware that I didn't go to school and put in like crazy hours and go to 1,000 auditions and get told no and then got an opportunity, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to undermine the graft, and I don't want to disrespect anyone that has put in that kind of work, and someone just to say, oh, you probably got that job because of, of your name in music and whatnot. So I wanted to like just study, So as soon as I got the job, this is from before, I just took it extremely seriously, but realized when you do that, it's like you can't make music at the same time, So I can't make an album on the side,
I can relate to that.
You know what I mean? You can't do that as probably when you're doing your books, you know what I mean? It's like you have to give it everything, So as much as I don't like to be like called an actor, I don't know why, but because I see myself such as a musician. But when I'm actually on Top Boy, that is what I am, And it's long days, fucking stressful, but I feel like we've done some good work, man.
Yeah,
I feel like we've done some good work, and glad to get the show back, and I don't know. I think hopefully people will enjoy it. I ain't seen it all though. I've still got a couple episodes left to watch, but what I have seen so far, it's looking cool.
Wicked. Last question. It just came up to me when you was talking about craft and learning every day.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to any young artists watching this, aspiring creatives? What have you learned over the last 15 years that you'd want to tell them? If it comes to you.
I don't know, but you know what? I'd like to say something to people that are not necessarily, some of the older artists and whatnot, because what I've learned in the last, year or so, and you're a part of this, is that we're not alone. Sometimes we feel like we're the only ones going through what we're going through, and there's a support system around us in other artists, in our field, that at times you've probably felt not afraid to connect with or reach out to, but I don't know, we just have surface conversations, you know what I mean? 100%. You see each other backstage, how's things, whatever.
Working on a new album.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But these times it's very important to link up and speak to each other, because like only we know what we're going through, you know what I mean? And the pressure that's on us. So I've learned in the last year to speak more to, to like-minded people, to people that can relate to your position, and just talk to your friends, man. Like they're there, Yeah.
Brother.
Respect.
I'm Akala, this is Kane Robinson. We've been broadcasting live from Hoodies All Summer, August 30th?
August the 30th, yeah.
Boom, August 30th.
Nice one.
Tour's coming soon. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bless up, brother.
Respect, man, every time.
Every time.